That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm Shane Raymer. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. If it's your first time listening, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today.
So it's time to go home.
Our guest today is the lovely, the talented. She's beautiful. She's not rude, but will drop some attitude if you're acting a fool. She's a homeschool teacher by day, holistic woman healer. You don't say. She's the apple of my eye, but in the 6th grade, she made me cry because we played Spin the Bottle. And the bottle landed on me, fair and square. And so we went behind the shed, and she didn't play fair. She had too much class to French kiss in the 6th grade, so she put her hands over my lips and moved her head around a couple of times, and I was highly disappointed. But from that day on, I knew I'd marry that babe with braces, and our marriage would be highly anointed, and it did. It's been 15 years. So happy to have you back on the podcast, babe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. Summed up.
How are you? It's good to be here with you.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Just had some sex. We did. It was amazing.
God.
Might as well start it off with,
That?
importantness. Like, yeah, you can be married 15 years and still hump.
Oh my God. Hump.
Well, what I thought was, in other news, welcome to the show. So glad you're here today, like I said.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
I am. We're in our own home.
It's been a while.
A while. It's been years. It's literally been years, I believe. Yeah,
No.
I think so. Yeah, it's been years.
We actually should have looked that up.
I mean, I can look it up real quick, but it'd probably take a minute if you want to.
Do you really think it's been years?
It has.
I think you're right, because there was Huntington, there was last year, there was
I remember doing
Huntington.
one podcast at Kendall Street when we lived in that house, maybe.
One? I
mean,
feel
that's
like we
like
did
the
a lot
last
there.
time.
I feel like that's when we did the most podcasting.
I'm trying to look
Together.
and see if I can find back in the 300s, maybe. I don't know. I should. Oh wait, here we go. Wait, is that? Maybe it was when Dr. Phyllis came on.
300 BC.
Please don't. Yeah, it was 305. That's the last one I have. That would have been February 28th, 2020. That's 3 years ago.
What?
I think there was one in between that.
That's actually been way too long. In my opinion.
I think there
Others
was
might
one
think
before that,
they
but I don't.
loved that. They're like, yeah, we realize it and we're good with that.
I highly doubt it. Why don't you? Well, let's see. Really fast here. Let's do this real quick, because what I'd like to do is, there's always new people listening to the podcast, and maybe they don't know the history of. There's been a lot of episodes you've been on a few times. So I'm gonna have you give a little bio. Have you ever done a bio of yourself? Give yourself a little bio there. Who are you? Where are you from? But before we do that,
Okay.
let me just do a couple things real quick. If you want to quit drinking, maybe that's why you're here today. And you're like, man, checking this podcast out. I'd really love to quit drinking for 30 days, man. Like, that Sober Guy can help you do that with the Quit Drinking Dude 30-day alcohol-free challenge. Here's what it is. It's 30 podcasts in 30 days. It'll help keep you accountable. It'll open up some discussions. There's worksheets, there's exercises, there's all kinds of good stuff. We explore new ideas. We share relatable experiences. And I think one of the most important things, you become part of the Sober Guy crew, which is a crew of like-minded men who are searching for the same thing, man. Something better, something different, a change, looking for something higher. And I don't mean the higher that you're going to get when you're using alcohol or drugs, or go down the list of things that we can try to stuff our souls with. We're trying to better ourselves and be about it and be together and do that together. And you can do that by signing up. Go to thatsoberguy.com. You get $10 off the Quit Drinking Dude 30-day challenge. You can also find more podcasts, meetings, other resources by doing the same thing. Going to thatsoberguy.com. And then Instagram, you can follow us there at That Sober Guy Podcast. Those are the announcements for today. And I don't know why I didn't like doing those, but I did them anyways. Weird. Strange.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Moving right along. How was your? let's do the old bio there.
Okay.
I know.
Well, you didn't tell me that was going to be part
You
of
told
the
me not to
sitch.
tell you anything. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, should we have some points, some talking points? We're always kind of freestyling, having fun on here anyways, but a lot of the time I'll like to, map out a few things that we're going to kind of roll through. Jess said, no, we just want to roll. I just want you to talk about stuff and respond to it.
Shane is very mappy.
I'm not mappy, but I
am very
like
not.
to... Yeah.
I am very like, let's just go with the flow. Plus, Shane is really good at leading the convo, so I'm like, it'll be fine. But then he hits me with,
you trust me?
What about your bio? Let's go ahead and just have you go ahead and just
it's so funny, huh?
tell your whole life
my
story.
Biography. I'm so
I
very
was
talented
born
and important.
In 1980.
Where? Castro Valley, California?
No, San Leandro.
I knew it was somewhere out there.
San Leandro, and soon after, Napa Valley.
Nice. Well, you moved to Napa.
Yeah.
Let's wait. Well, we can just start here too with the title of this episode, Date Night with Shane and Jess. And here's what I was thinking: what if we did a monthly series called Date Night?
Oh.
And we did a date night just like we did tonight. Mm-hmm. And then what we did is we went to dinner, and we dropped the kids off. Then we went to dinner. Then we came home. Then we humped.
Oh my God.
Now we're doing a podcast.
Oh my God. I don't know that everybody in the world needs to know that.
I want to encourage everybody to do the same. Love your spouse. Just have fun.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Not when you're married.
A little love making. Okay.
Okay, now it's getting weird. Just stop. Okay, I'll just stop. It's my fault. I take full responsibility.
So, yeah, I don't know. Bio, not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess right now my bio would be that I am, I don't know where
You're
to start.
homeschooling our kids. Let's just start there. Let's just dive in because we don't have a particular point of entry. So let's just go for it. You're homeschooling our kids for the last 3 years now.
I feel like our water tastes weird.
Nobody cares.
Is it our water? Is it the Berkey? Is it the ice cubes? What is it?
I just
Does
took a
yours
drink.
taste
Mine tastes okay.
Okay. Yep. Homeschooling and what was the last thing you said? What am I doing with my life?
Well, you retired from hair.
Yeah, I don't know.
You somewhat retired. We do have a...
Not ready to like full on say that yet, but since
Well,
we
you do. You
moved
still
to
do
Huntington,
hair on the side.
I haven't done hair for about 2 years now, fully in a salon. So that's new.
Yes.
And that is something that I'm working through. And I'm not ready yet to say that I'm like fully retired. I feel like that's like a whole situation. But I do have other endeavors that I am enjoying a little bit more. So that has been nice. I work at a local holistic and wellness shop, which has been life-changing. Our good friend, Chrissy Helmer, owns the shop. It's here in Vacaville called Eco Chic.
Yes.
And you can look us up on Instagram, Eco Chic Inc. And we ship, so don't worry about that. But anyway, yeah, it's just that's been something different, and it's been a blessing.
But you love it.
And I love it.
And what's funny is I remember a few years ago, you saying, yeah, I mean, over probably 5 years. I don't know. It's when you were in like the mix of doing hair still.
Yeah, I was like
You're like, I'm going to work there one day.
Yeah.
I want to work there.
And at that
I just want the whole vibe. It's so, there was so much Jesus going on and like
wonderful.
Good people and like people coming in and being able to help and serve and just, you love the atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
Chrissy does a great job of creating that atmosphere with her team, with
Jesus,
the shop, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's wonderful. And everybody feels it when they walk in the door. They're like, wow, this is really first thing they say.
Except the haters.
Yeah, but
I always say
they walk in with their mask on and then they take a lap around the store and then they realize what we're about. All you have to do is smell it, see it, and hear it because we've got the oils going, we've got the Bibles for sale, and we've got the worship music playing. So it's like as soon as that all registers, they're like, and I'm out of here.
Which is fun. Do your thing.
Which is totally fine. Yeah.
But I always say if you don't have
it's just
haters, you're probably not doing it right, because there's always going to be people who stand on the sideline and
throw rocks.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's been really neat. It's been, quite a ride, I guess, in the last 3 years since I've been on. A lot has changed. Yes, no hair, switched to homeschool, went through a crazy gut infection situation for about a year. I was struggling with that. Tried Western medicine for it because that's all I knew. And for about 3 months, they couldn't diagnose it, and then knew about a holistic kind of friend, person, acquaintance here in town, and decided to switch to her and kind of see what she could do for me. And she is actually the one that found out that I had a horrible gut infection, and it was called C. diff, if you're familiar, anybody out there. And that was about the 3rd month in that I figured out what it was after suffering for those 3 months. And then after that, I struggled for about, I don't know what, another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 6 months or so, detoxing it naturally, getting to the root cause of it rather than just taking what's it called? When, biotic. Antibiotic.
Yeah.
Instead of taking an antibiotic, I decided to go the holistic route and get to the root cause of it and really actually kill the pathogen and what was causing it. So that was...
Let me back up, because you didn't
crazy.
necessarily decide that just on any whim. You were actually on a walk, because I remember you telling me that you were walking and you were very upset, confused, not knowing what you were going to do. It would have been really easy just to get the antibiotic. Mm-hmm. And should say too, like, to each his own. So everyone has their own choice in what they want to do.
Yeah.
In any moment in time, and you have a decision to make. And you could have gone that route, and instead you said you heard God say, I will heal you if you stick this path.
That
so
wasn't
you trusted
even
in that.
If you stick this path, it was just, I will heal you. And let me back up, because it was on a day that I was just riddled with anxiety, because I had no idea what was going on at this point. I didn't know yet the results from my lab with the holistic nutritionist. And so I was just like, but I was still having so many symptoms, and, gut and brain is connected. So it was, everything was just jacked up, and I was, a mess. And I remember I went out to Shane for the 45th time out into the garage, and I was like, and Shane's like, I think you need to go for a walk. And I'm like, and it was everything I could do just to walk. But I thought that maybe he was right. So I went out and walked this bike path that we go down often. And I was breathing and trying to, and then I saw the wind blowing in the grass, and that was very calming to me. And then I went off on this path that we don't usually go down, and into these big, huge pine trees that were blowing in the wind. And I walked through this small little, it's not even a forest, but it's just like a line of trees. And as you walk through, you feel like you're kind of in a forest, and everything was blowing, and it was, and I had this feeling, and it was calming, and I walked through, and I went outside of it, and God said, turn around and go back. I was like, okay. And we turned around and went back, and there was this ray of sunshine peeking through the trees. And I went and sat down right in that little ray of sunshine facing the sun. And I just kind of sat there and just cried, and was just like, I don't know what's happening. Lord, please. And just real quick and quiet, he said, I will heal you. Mm. And that's all I needed. He didn't say how or when or anything.
Yeah. I think that's an important part to put out. It wasn't like, it's like, oh, I will heal you, and then the next day you were healed. There's still a long process after that.
There was like 6 months.
The point, I think, is that you really trusted that.
I did. That's all I needed.
Which is huge.
I just needed God to speak to me in that moment. Just, God, what am I doing? Because I was still in the struggle of Western versus holistic. So I was still trying to figure out, like, is this the right road? I just don't even know. And also, like, what is going on with me? And he said, I will heal you. And so I sat there for a little longer and just kind of let that process. And then I got up and I walked home and cried some more. And I think I told Shane, God said he was going to heal me. And so that was really good to share with Shane too, because as I was going through the detox part, which was equally as difficult, I was going through that. And Shane, I would go to him and I'd say, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I would still doubt, because I'm human, right? We're all human. We have these doubts in this flesh, and it's just like, what's the easiest thing? And I would go to him maybe, I don't know, three times out of all of it. And just like, am I doing the right thing? Is this it? Like, am I supposed to da, da, da? And he said, what did God say? And he kept reminding me of God's promise. And so that was really important to me, because I think that if you didn't do that, I might have, I don't know, because you were there and you did do that. So there's no what ifs. But yeah, so anyway, I finally, was able to heal from that. And then, not to mention too, how God placed me in Eco Chic, where I was able to learn so much more through Chrissy, through the customers, through, honestly, Instagram and the accounts that I would follow on, people's Instagrams that are informative like about that health. Yeah. Other holistic. Nutrition. Yeah. Like different things. Christina Pann. She's the holistic nutritionist that I went through. She's and she awesome. Does everything. What is it?
Like telehealth?
Telepathically.
Who doesn't? Everything is on Zoom now or whatever.
Right. So she's available to anyone, if you're interested. Her Instagram is at Science and Soul Method.
Yeah, she's been awesome.
She's been amazing. And I'll share with you also, and then we'll move on. But I remember speaking with my Western doctor, Western Health, whatever, my regular, physician guy. And I was talking to her, and she's, just like doing all the tests, and no, nothing was coming up. And it was very dark and heavy. And I just didn't have a lot of hope when I would get off the phone with my doctor. It was, and then I would have a meeting with Christina Pann, and I would discuss things with her. And there was so much hope. And I would get off the call with her feeling hopeful and feeling like we're going to get through this. And I feel like I can fight this. And I feel like, okay, there's answers and there's a way. And I don't know particularly why that is, or, whatever. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but that was just my experience. And that's really too, spiritually speaking, was a huge thing for me. I could tell it was like very heavy, dark, no hope. And then it was very light, hopeful, and I felt ready to attack this thing. Yeah. So it was just, it was quite the experience. It was literally life-changing, another life-changing moment. And since then, I've been healed by the grace of God. My friends, my husband, and, the gifting that Christina Pann has on her life as well. Because if she, I just think about that a lot. Like, people are walking out their gifting and it's serving others, it's literally like helping people live better lives. Yeah. And, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for people that will step out into their calling, in a bold way, because it's not for that person, it shouldn't be for that person's benefit that they're stepping out and helping other people, right? Yeah. It's because it's a passion for them. It's in their heart. It's just, I don't know, it makes them alive. It makes them come alive. It's like what they love to do. But at the same time, God uses that, and before you know it, you're helping people, Yeah. I think you would know a little bit about that.
Maybe. I did follow Christina Pann. It's functional nutritionist. It's at Science and Soul _Academy. So if you do want to check her out and you're looking for some holistic help, definitely would recommend her. What do you keep drinking the water, and
dude, it tastes literally like,
your face was like, what is it called? Salty bat face? It
tastes like poop or like mold.
Oh, that sounds gross. No, I don't.
It is gross.
Why don't you go get a bottle of water out of
Where is it?
In the garage. In the garage, out in the garage. I had a buddy, his dad was from Scotland. Philip, rest his soul, was an awesome dude. But everything was, David, get out of the garage. Oh man. Okay. Let's try this water.
Joey, I said something about Pepper, and Joey said, I was just out taking Pepper for a walk. I said, how do you know that? He's like,
you probably heard one of the kids.
Well, us. I mean, he's like, I've been around you. Like, what are you talking about? Okay.
It's like, how aren't our kids have all the hand-me-down sayings too?
God.
Like the kids, I don't know if you guys have certain sayings that you guys say in your house, and then your kids like pick them up. They're like little parrots. Like, what's one of them that
it was like stuff that we would say before they were ever even born.
Oh yeah. Or stuff like my Nana would say.
And then now they're saying them, and we're like, wait, what? Okay. So anyway, gut infections. I'm just kidding.
Wow. Oh man.
So yeah.
What else? Yeah. So you had a gut. I mean, it's not just a gut infection. It's literally a life-changing experience. And you probably wouldn't have, like, you were forced into that. 100%.
I was forced into that.
You were forced into that. It was miserable for you. It was actually, to be honest, it was miserable for all of us because it was so hard to see like that. It was hard to function just day to day. You couldn't eat. I remember at one point you were literally just eating like a banana. That's all you would eat. That's all you could eat.
I think there were 5 things. I could eat ground turkey. I could eat cauliflower noodles. I could eat sweet potatoes. And I remember adding in that bitchin' sauce, the cashew like sauce or whatever. And I was so excited about that because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a brand new thing. But yeah, it was I think I could eat eggs. But it was.
Well, I just remember coming home crazy. And like all I would buy you is a sweet potato. Mm-hmm. Like that's all you could eat. Or we went out, I think a couple times. Didn't we go to Cattleman's one night?
Yeah, that's before I knew what was happening.
Jeremy and April, and you just ordered a sweet potato, I think.
Sweet potato with no butter.
Nothing. We're all mowing down on steak.
That's before I knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And you were like, dude, you're good. Like, chill out, like whatever. Because in the beginning, Shane, the doctor, people were like, dude, it's just anxiety. Like, it's stress. Because we had just got back from Huntington Beach. And I had been under a lot of stress because I was trying to like switch the kids' homeschool. And we moved into this house and we left Huntington, which was really a bummer. And like, we were living with Shane's mom for like a week and there was just so much stress. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so yeah, and they just kept saying like, you're just stressed. It's anxiety. You're stressed out. And I was like, okay, that's a possibility. But I was like, dude, no, like I've never had stress feel like this before. But yeah, I was totally forced into it. And, I feel like sometimes in my opinion, how God works is where he's like, I'll allow it, mm-hmm. I'll allow it. I'll allow this journey and you just to kind of walk through it and I'll be with you the whole time. But I'm going to allow this because I tried to give you other options and you weren't taking them. So this might just have to be it, for you to move on to the next level.
Yeah.
And, so here I am. But it's good because I know a lot more about my body and health and food and, a holistic lifestyle. It's been like a whole learning
experience too. And now you're helping tons of other women on the daily at the shop, on Instagram, in person.
It's true.
When you meet people.
Yeah, as much as I can. I only by the experience that I have. But yeah, it's been something. And yes, it was very hard on the whole family. And I am so blessed to have Shane and the kids because they were just amazing. Like, I can't imagine how hard it was for you to have to deal with my
I had my moments, trust me. It was hard.
But he was very patient and understanding and
I just wanted you to get better.
Yeah,
all of us did.
I know.
We're just like, dude, mom's like suffering right now.
I know. I was. I can't even. And then the worst part was I couldn't explain exactly what I was feeling. Shane's be like, what is it? Like, how are you feeling? Like, what is, I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I was just dizzy, nauseous, cramping stomach, pinching stomach. Like, you guys, there was literally a pathogen living inside of me. Like, there was literally like, it's like a parasite, but it's bigger and it's protected by this crazy like force field around it. And so it's even harder to like go in and kill it. So you have to like break down the force field, and then you have to go in and you have to actually kill the pathogen as well. So as you're doing that, there's detoxing going on. So there's toxins all throughout your body happening. And so you're nauseous, you're sick, you're dizzy, you're, I don't know, like, oh God, like anything, just everything. It was awful. It was awful.
Do you think there's a lot of women who struggle with that, who don't even know what it is?
I think there's a lot of people that struggle with that. I know for a fact because they come into the shop often, and they're like, oh, my stomach, and I don't know what it is, and I'm just feeling bloated, or I can't, go to the bathroom, or I'm everything I eat makes me super bloated, or every time I eat, I get a stomach ache or whatever. And I think that a lot of people deal with parasites. I think parasites are a huge deal in America, but nobody wants to talk about it because big pharma is not really able to, make money off of that, or like, it's not something like in the UK, they do like parasite cleanses once a month or something crazy. Like they're like, yeah, you got to do that. That's what you should do. But I just feel like in America, nobody really talks about it. It's not like a medical thing, that they even test, like their tests won't even go that far into knowing that you have a parasite. Like it's crazy.
Do you remember when we were driving back we went down, I think it was when we took a little trip down to Newport in Huntington. We were driving back home and you were on the phone with one of the doctors.
Yeah. That was the GI doctor.
The GI doctor. And you were kind of schooling him and asking him questions about your test results, or so was it your test results? Something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the strangest conversation to me. I know.
It was insane.
It really was.
I had had my test results back from Christina Pann, and I had already had this appointment with the GI doctor scheduled. And the thing about it is that I keep thinking now, and I hear again at the shop all the time, is these people coming in saying, oh, I can't even get an appointment with a specialist for another like 3 months. And I'm like, dude, what are you going to do for 3 months? Like these, like people are just waiting for a doctor like that has a PhD and a college degree to tell them what is wrong with them. It's like, take charge of your own health at this point. There's a lot of, ways that you can do that. There's a lot of alternative, ways that you can figure out what's wrong with you. There's holistic nutrition. There's, and it's gonna sound really stupid, but like there's Instagram, right? Like there's so many different Instagram accounts that you can follow that these people are just, again, living out their calling and their gifting. And they're just like, here's the information. If there is a holistic store in your area, go there and just kind of chat up the people that work there, that kind of thing. But it's just so sad because a lot of people are just waiting, they're waiting to hear the answer from the doctor. And when I did talk to the doctor, I had my results from the holistic nutritionist already. And I was kind of going over with him and I'm like, yeah, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this, medication, just kind of trying to get a second opinion. Like, it wasn't even medication actually. What do you think about these herbs that I'm going to take? What do you think about this? This is what this is called. He's like, yeah, hold on. I hear him typing. He's like, I'm looking it up right now. Hold on. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, I'm Googling it. I'm like, bro, save it, bro. I was like, no, so that was weird. And it just kind of opened up my whole, it really opened up my eyes, opened up the whole world, because I literally was the person that would be like, oh my God, I have a headache. Call my doctor right away. What medicine can I take? Like that's how I was,
Well, it's easy to do today too, when there's a pill for everything. It's
oh
like,
my gosh.
There's a pill for this. There's a pill for that. Sometimes everyone's different. Certain cases, pills are useful for things. I feel like though they're very overly promoted and,
what's
like
the go-to?
A lot of the time, if we just had a better diet and a better
understanding of our body,
100%, and sunlight.
Oh my gosh, sleep,
vitamins,
water, food.
I mean, it's like simple stuff. It gets overlooked, and it's actually not promoted as much as just the pill.
Exercise.
Yeah.
It is simple stuff, but it's stuff that takes time and effort. Some of it.
It takes commitment. Yeah. You have to be that. And the patience part is hard too, because we live in this society where it's like we want a quick payoff.
It's
we
just
want
like
it to happen
sobriety
overnight,
in a sense. Sobriety takes
Very
time,
similar.
effort, you know,
commitment. It's a lifestyle.
Commitment.
I mean, just like
It's a lifestyle.
your whole new deal is a lifestyle. You didn't just say, "Oh, I'm going to go on this diet and change my
Yes.
eating habits." You actually went
Yes.
through something where you felt like you're going to die. Number one,
Yeah.
but number two, it changed not only your physical habits, your eating habits, your sleeping habits, your awareness of anything from blue light to, I mean,
Yeah.
go down the list of things, filtering water, everything.
Yeah. And the awareness of my body. That was
Yeah.
that is huge.
So tell us why, like, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, before I would just be like one little meh and one little hurt, ache, you know, whatever. And I'd be like, call the doctor. What's that? I'm dying. It's cancer, you know?
Yeah, you're kind of a hypochondriac.
Yeah. And now I'm like, okay, no. And actually Christina Pann told me this too. She said, your body is doing like 100 different things all the time. So of course that there's going to be little kinks and whatevers and you know? Yeah. And when she told me that, I was like, gosh, that's so true. And also just respecting that my body is doing so much for me. And why would I just fill it with crap? You know, like, why would I just go and be like, thank you, body, for all the wonderful things. Have this Big Mac and fries and a shake.
Wait. Because one of the hardest things when we were going through this was going to In-N-Out and not being able, and then feeling guilty about it because you couldn't eat In-N-Out.
Yeah, that was effed up, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
they came home I don't think they realized like that I like where I was at, which is fine.
Dude, we're talking about In-N-Out here, though. Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's why I lost my shat. They came home with In-N-Out, and I was like over here making my cauliflower noodles for like the 45th night of the universe. And they're like eating it, and they're like, you know, getting it out. It smells hecka good. And I'm just like looking at them. And I think they had done this before or something. They did it with something else. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's just what it is. And I would like make my food. And
but this night was different.
But this night I was just like, I can't take it anymore. I was like, I can't believe you guys. And they all looked at me like, oh, shit. Like they knew that that was not good.
Yeah.
And then I just went up in my room and sulked.
Did you? I thought we got up and left.
No, I went up in my room. And then each
bad.
one of them came up at separate times, and they're like, "I'm sorry for eating the In-N-Out in front of you." And I was like, "Listen, I get it. It's fine, but I need you guys to understand. Like, I can't do it, and I need your support. Like, go eat In-N-Out, but eat it there."
Well, see, and you could apply that to someone trying to quit drinking. We got to lay down sometimes. And it doesn't mean that we have to disown friends or disown family, or it doesn't mean it's forever. But sometimes we need some space in between so we can get ourselves on track. Because if we're not putting ourselves first and we're doing the things that need to be done and doing that out over the long term, because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes commitment, patience, all the great keywords that you hear. You need that support. So no, if you're trying to stay sober and not drink, you can't go hang out at the bar. You know,
especially like the first few weeks, you know?
Well, and that's what I mean. Eventually,
that's how I felt.
Yeah, eventually,
yes.
It's not as hard to do that, but you still want to be careful. You still want to have support, but you have like tools in place. You know how to deal with stuff. Like you have some resources and some people who care about you, all that stuff. But like at first, you can't do that. You can't go. You know, you might have to say no. I'm not going to the wedding, or I'm going to the wedding, but I'm going to bounce out before the reception. Yeah. Like I'm going to eat dinner and then I have to leave because I'm not going to put myself in that position in the first 30, 60, 90 days that I'm trying to quit drinking.
Well, I even had to do that with some things that we would go to, you know, barbecues or events or whatever, where there was like food. And I was like, damn, okay, that's right. At like dinner time. And
you would bring your own stuff too.
Yeah, I'd have to like either bring my own stuff and be the one that was like, can you barbecue this chicken breast? Or, you know, I would be like, I got to eat before, you know, and this wasn't a choice. This wasn't like, oh, I'm just, I'm just on a diet, or I'm just, like it was
Is that
like,
how it sounds?
I fully can't.
Just like on a diet.
I'm watching my carbs.
This isn't my cheat day.
Yeah. I was like, I can't even like handle life, like I legit can't eat this because I was in so much pain. I don't ever want to go back to that. That's a lot like sobriety.
What would happen if you ate something though? Like because I think that'll help. Because it is similar. What will happen if you drink?
Okay. So
like
if I ate something, I would, oh God, my stomach would bloat out like so uncomfortably. Like I would be so uncomfortable in my gut, and I would feel nauseous and dizzy, and I wouldn't be able to get up. I'd need a heating pad. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't. And, God, what else was it? It was just so
cramping, just uncomfortable, sick. You just wanted to lay down. You're in pain. You needed a heating pad. You couldn't do anything.
Activated charcoal was my best friend. It still is.
Still don't understand that one myself, but
well, it's a binder for toxins.
The only binder I know is a trapper keeper. It's the only binder I know. Okay. Don't know what you're talking about with your binder talk. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was horrible. And so, yeah, I guess you're right. I can understand. Well, I don't know if I could actually say that I can understand the life of a, recovering alcoholic, but I can understand the struggle of you can trying to do something different than what I did before, than how I did it before.
This concept. That's why I love the concept. That we're talking about. It all applies to the same thing. So food, drugs, alcohol,
pills,
shopping, money, sex, go down the list. They're all things that can change our lives if, and they can go down a path that's not healthy, like any way.
You lose control it's a whole of yourself.
Process. It's a whole lifestyle if you're making changes from any of those things or any things that we didn't mention that are kind of the same concept.
And here's the thing too, is it like someone who has been drinking since they were like 16 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I had been abusing my body with food since I can't remember when.
We just drove. So we went to one of our little favorite spots here in Vacaville called Pietro's. It's an Italian restaurant. It's been here forever. Great family owned business. Great food, great Italian food. And we're driving past after we leave, and there's another little Mexican restaurant called Taco Jalisco, which is I love Taco Jalisco. Green sauce. Oh man, it's money. Little staple in Vacaville. We're driving past and Jess goes, ugh. Not because Taco Jalisco sucks or anything. Taco Jalisco is good. But she was reminded of the fact that when she was still doing hair at the salon down the street, which is right by Pietro's and Taco Jalisco, she'd have 10, 15 minutes of a break in between because she'd just be slammed all day. Yeah. We talked about that too, that repetitive, very fast-paced day of being on your feet all day doing hair. You're not only are you physically drained from doing hair, but you're also emotionally drained because you're dealing with clients who dump their whole life story on you, and you're kind of like a therapist at the same time. And then you're starving by 2:00. You didn't eat breakfast, you didn't eat lunch, and all of a sudden you have 15 minutes to run over to Taco Jalisco and grab a huge ass chicken or steak burrito bowl, which is really good, but then you stuff it down in 10, 15 minutes, then go back to work.
Yeah. Not to mention that when I would stuff it down, I was stressed, right? I was just going to
say that. Yeah.
My whole body is stressed. It doesn't know how to digest the food correctly.
Yep.
So it's just it was just a recipe for disaster, bro.
And stress. So let's talk about that a little bit. I think that's an important one because Christina Pann, I feel like, pointed out a lot of this to you, especially in the beginning too, about stress and stress hormones and your body and how stress plays a factor in worry and anxiety, in hypochondria as well, like thinking that something's wrong with you with all the things. Like a lot of people deal with that. A lot of people drink or they eat or they do whatever to deal with the stress. I would like to say myself, I've gotten much better at dealing with stress, but I still have it. And there's two things I rely on my faith, number one. I'm getting better and better each day at that. I think turning and just saying, God, like I can't do this today. Like I give it to you. And then from like a physical standpoint, I like to just get my butt kicked in the gym and try to go hard and work off some stress, or get with a group of dudes and do a great workout together where we're like just sweating our asses off and pumping each other up.
Yeah.
And that helps me let stress out. Even walking, my walks, Jess gets upset sometimes because I haven't walked in like 2 weeks because it's just been so dang cold and it was rainy here and I just kind of got out of my rhythm.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy that. And that's a huge stress reliever for me, is walking. So anyways, long-winded thing, but how have you been dealing with the stress? What have you learned about it? What would you tell someone else who's dealing with stress?
Well, like at the beginning of everything, everybody was saying like, it's stress, it's anxiety, you're just tripping. No. And I'm like, okay. And so I thought, okay, well, that's possible. Let me try to chill. So I did learn a lot about, stress and how it can just wreak havoc on your body. And, like I learned a few things about like when eating, that you should be like in a clear minded state. Like you don't want to be stressed. Like for me, when I was eating at the salon and stuff, it was just like, hurry up and eat, blah, blah, blah. And then, there's nothing calm about that environment.
I want you to, if you don't mind, explain a little bit more of that, because I feel like it's very relatable to people who have fast-paced jobs who are stressed a lot. Maybe it's in restaurant industry, healthcare. I mean, whatever it is.
Also
salons.
Does, register with like drinking too, because the hair industry is so saturated with, drinking, to be quite honest. And, it's like a thing. It's like, oh, you're a hairstylist. Oh, okay. So you drink. And, because it's stressful, and it's because you that's what people do. It's like after work, I'm gonna go drink, after work, I gotta drink, after work, let's go get a drink, What about leaders too? People who lead people. You're a boss, you're a supervisor, you're a manager, you're the owner of a company, you're in ministry. Yeah.
Leaders have really high stressful jobs, and they have a lot of responsibility, and there's people who look to them they think they have all the answers. Oh, I'm going to go here, and this person, they're going to have all the answers for me. They're going to fix me.
Yeah. It's really stressful.
And then people who are good-hearted people who like to serve and who want to serve and who want to help, spread love and help. And like,
they put themselves
they take
in that
on.
Yeah.
Now you're taking on someone else's stress and someone else's like, that is such a hard.
And that's again back to not to whatever, but back to the industry of hair as well. Like we are giving people, and we want to make people's lives easier, and we want to make them feel good and feel better. It's a heart work, and you can take on those people, that energy of like the stress and the emotions. And it's like,
did you do that a lot at work?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because I know you come
100%.
home with some crazy stories that you had to listen to.
Oh my gosh. And I'm such a empathetic person where I'm like, let me like fix you, what can we do? Like, how can we fix it? And so, you just take it on and then, until the next time they come, and then you're trying to figure it out and help them.
And then you go stuff down a burrito bowl
in the back real quick while they're processing. And then,
come out with sour cream on your shirt. Just kidding.
Gross. And then, you're back on stage. So it's like, you got to be on, and then you're like, oh, and then the day's over, and then you
wait, you don't like your hair? You don't like your hair?
Oh, for the love of it.
Wait, what? You want me to redo it?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like, because you're performing, and then you're creating, and it's all in a few hours. You gotta, and within a time limit. You're creating art. You're helping someone.
And then you got to come home and put your mom hat on, or your dad hat on, or your husband or wife hat on. Yeah. Or whatever hat is that you wear, your little league coach hat, or your whatever, you know?
Yep.
And so we're constantly switching gears.
100%.
Having to live in this world of constant change and
doing.
The only thing I've
stress.
found to relieve me that is God. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand it all still. I don't know that I ever will. And I'm fine with that. I think there's like a good space to be in when it's like, I'm fine with that. I don't need to figure it all out.
I think that's what faith is, you know?
Yeah, because all I know is that when I don't have to wear all that stuff and I can just be in the moment and try to be the best I can and be of service and be nice and try to help. I'm not going to fix everybody. I can't even fix myself. Shoot.
Well, that's why I think too, like, and that's what I go to these days is prayer, you know?
That's what I was going to say.
Like,
I could pray for Lord, you.
Yeah. And so I do consider that. I think about that a lot. Like, okay, if I were to go back into the industry today, it would be different, right? And Shane even said that you would reinvent yourself. You know, it would be like, you would have to have boundaries and you would, you know, this and that. And I do think about that a lot. I'm like, oh, it would be completely different. I would have boundaries. I would have prayer. I would have Jesus. I would, you know, but, I don't know. It didn't serve me well. And I just don't know that I want to go back into the whole energy of it all, you know?
It feels like it would be moving backwards in a sense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because it's going back to a certain time and a place in our lives and in your life and your career when the kids were still younger. And it doesn't feel like, I like to feel like I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
And you've told me before, if you made that decision, it would feel like you were going backwards and you like to move forward too. But it doesn't mean you're not ever going to do hair again necessarily, but
I don't know. I think it's hard too though, because maybe your listeners, some people can really, I don't know, but it's this identity also that at first it was like, well, I've done hair for 14 years. Like, what do you mean I'm not doing hair anymore? You know? And then here I am back in my hometown where it's like, oh, do you still do hair? Do you still do hair? Are you doing her? It's like, that's what people knew about me, you know? And so then like, I'm like, no, I'm not. And then they're like, oh, you know, and they're like,
who are you
doing?
Yeah. You're like an alien all of a sudden.
What do you do?
Wait, what do you do?
Yeah. And then I'm like, homeschool my kid. You know, and people are just, they can't grasp it. They're like, wait, what? So like, you're not, you know, because the money's good in the hair industry, right? It's there is your creative, you're the hairstylist. And then I'm like, hey, I'm quitting to do homeschool and work at a holistic healthcare or health shop or whatever. And people are like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, it's changed though too. And it's tough to change.
It's hard to change.
It's hard to change. It's hard to accept change and to move into new things that God has in your life, in your path that are different.
Yeah. And
then we have to step out and accept these things and go, wait a minute, like that's not serving my body well. It's not serving my family well. I'm not supposed to be here anymore.
There were quite a few times, I think you can agree, that God was like, and we're done. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, no, we're not. I'm just going to switch salons. Or I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm switch it up.
So how do we know when God closes doors versus opens them?
I think the grace is lifted. I think it's harder. You know, everything just gets harder. And you keep trying to reinvent it. And you keep trying to make it work. And it's just not.
But we also hear people say, well, don't give up. Keep fighting. So how do you know? Like, that's like it's kind of confusing.
I feel like that's worldly, you know, don't give up, keep fighting, keep going, do whatever it takes, you know, like, whoa, like that sounds freaking exhausting.
Sure does.
You know, like, hold on. And so, but then it's hard because you get caught in the hamster wheel, right? When you're trying to reinvent and because change means that I'm going to have to do something different, or change means that I'm going to have to like stop this and start that. And change means that means that I'm different. And it's such a self-exploration that I think a lot of people just can't wrap their brain around, you know? So then they're like, I'm just going to make it work. And then, you know, and you drink about it, you self-destruct. Eat about it, you self-destruct. And then before you know it, you're at burnout. And then God's like, and that's why I think what happened to me, I think that I think, you know, with the seed of, yes, food and different things and whatever, but I do think a lot of it, stress really did have something to do with it. You know, I think there was just a point where God was like, okay, I tried to do it and you weren't listening. And so we got to do it the hard way. I don't know if, you know, people, that's not how God works. God is not a blah, blah, blah God. And like, okay, I get it. But my God knows that he has to sometimes do that, you know, because I think nowadays I'm a little more aware of my body and whoa, okay, this is getting a little intense, or I'm kind of out of my area here and I need to calm down or I need to de-stress.
Like when we went to the restaurant the other night, I won't name it, but we went to a specific restaurant here that you initially think that you may have gotten sick from.
Oh yeah.
The first time, and you were like literally freaking out. And I was like, dude, you ate some chips and some cheese. That's it.
I couldn't.
But it was the whole vibe of being there.
It was just the whole thing. Yeah. I was like, no, it's just PTSD or something. I don't know. But I'm talking more about like the stress of like life, right? And once you start getting caught up, and I think being able to identify that stress is what I'm saying. Like, I think that the C. diff was brought on by, food and unhealthy and all of that. But I also think that it was brought on and kind of revved up from like the stress,
I think
stress comes from your gut,
part of it.
It's all part of like your microbiome and all of that. And it's just like, and it just can eat you up and it jacks you up, man. And then, your gut is connected to your brain health. So then your brain starts getting jacked and you brain fog and anxiety and depression. And it's a whole thing, and, food, alcohol, drugs, antibiotics, all that stuff messes with that gut flora.
What do you see most women coming into the shop and like, what are like a couple of things, like 3 things that really would help, in particularly a woman out there who is dealing with some of the stuff you dealt with, high stress, whether it's your kids, your job, your family, whatever it is.
Yeah. So
like stress, all what is it?
3 main things that women come in with is gut health, anxiety, and hormones. Those are the 3 things that they're like, I mean, not all at one, one person with all 3 of those things. I mean, it's possible, but, yeah, that's it. And the anxiety.
So what do you tell them or what do you give them? What do you suggest? Well, I mean,
gosh, there's
or so what, let me rephrase that because we're not doctors here, but what do you, in your experience, what has worked for you and what have you seen work for other women?
Yeah. So for anxiety, oils.
Yeah. Just put some oil on your neck.
Put it in your hand and breathe it in 3 times
like
through
peppermint.
your nose. Serenity oil, doTERRA, that helps me a lot. I breathe that in, I diffuse it. Something that's really helped me with stress, huge, and I still do it, and it's amazing, which I would highly recommend to anybody. Is a detox bath. So if you have a bathtub, you get yourself some magnesium flakes. You can get all of this too at Eco Chic. If you guys want to have it shipped out or whatever, you guys can DM us on Instagram and we can just pack it up for you and send it out. You can Venmo us or we can send you a payment link. But we have these magnesium flakes for the bath. And then we have this bath bubbles that have Epsom salt in them. And you put that in your bath with like as hot as you can stand water, and you sit in this bath for 20 minutes or more if desired.
Dude, you made me one of those and I about passed out. It was so damn hot. And I don't take baths. I'm a 6', 41-year-old grown man. Not that there's anything wrong with taking baths. I think it's awesome. I'm probably a little bit too, what's the word I'm looking
hyper?
for? Well, yes, hyper. And I'm just,
you need to chill.
I should take baths is what I'm saying. Yes. I should be able to do that more. And it's something I'm trying to get a little more acclimated to, but it was hot. Boy, damn, it was hot. I was sweating.
Well, okay. So it's really also really great for stress and gut issues, detoxing. It's called a detox bath, but it's really funny. So whenever the kids or myself or Shane or anything start feeling a little funky, like sick or cough or whatever, I'm like, hey, you're getting your ass in the bath. And so then I make them a bath and I get them in there. Well, Shane finally, he's getting a head cold something. And I was like, dude, you're taking a bath. Like it's happening tonight. And he's like, okay, fine. And I thought, oh yeah, it must be bad if he's like okay with taking a bath. And so I make it up for him, whatever. He steps his feet and he's like, oh shit, that's hot. I'm like, get your ass in the bath. And I felt, I was like, oh, okay, it was kind of hot. So I add a little water, whatever, cold water. He got in and he's like, I don't really know what to do in the bath.
I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I do here? Do I just sit? Do I stand and do I move? Like I kept moving back and then I'd sink down. You're like, you got to put your whole chest in. Put it up to your neck. Sit down into your neck. Just sit there. I'm like, dude, I can't just sit here. This is boring. And it's really hot and I'm sweating. I'm starting to see dots. okay, I need some water. And then it's like 15 minutes. I'm like, do you think it's cool if I get out? I can't sit still. But it was, I mean, it did feel good.
You did actually sit in there for quite some time. You put some music on.
Actually, I did put some music on.
You had the Dustin Kinsrew playing.
Yeah. Our poor beloved dog Brody had just recently passed away.
He did?
A couple days. Yeah, that was the couple days after that.
Was it?
Right after Christmas.
Oh, Brody.
I know. And so I was thinking about him.
Yeah. And so he got in. But yeah, he did get out of the bath, and he's like, dude, my heart is pumping so fast.
Dude, it was.
It's beating. You feel it.
It felt like I ran, like I just went and did wind sprints or something. Like got on the rower and just rode all the way to freaking Florida
Mexico.
or something. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And he was like, I was like, hey, lay down. Sometimes you want to get in the cold water.
That's what you told me to do. So I put like my sweats on or shorts or whatever, and I tried to lay down. And my heart was going so fast I couldn't lay down, and I was still really hot.
And I told him
so
before he
laid
laid
down,
me
to jump in the
get
shower.
in the cold shower. No, I'm going to lay down. Okay.
And that helped. And then I cooled off. And I think it did, though. I think it did help my body and stuff. But
100%. It detoxes your toxins. But, okay, so that was an extreme example.
Yeah, sorry. So anyways, oils... That. You were saying it's oils, a hot bath. You were giving a couple tips.
Yeah, hot bath, oils.
What else?
And CBD. CBD is really good if you can take that. We've got these great CBD gummies by Charlotte's Web. Those are calming. We have magnesium powder that is so good by Trace Minerals, and that's just like a scoop of it and 8 ounces of hot water, and it's like a tea. And you just drink that, and it really helps you calm down, actually. We have homeopathic stuff. I mean, CBD topicals. I mean, it takes a lot, it takes quite a few things. That's what I find with holistic is that it takes quite a few things quite a few times in the day, to like make it all work for you. I will say too, though, your uptake of magnesium should be pretty high. Like daily supplemental of magnesium is really going to help with like sleep and stress and just kind of overall health. If you're not taking anything at all and you're just like, well, it's something that will help me, I would look at some magnesium. That'd be pretty great. And then as far as gut health, I would say get on a probiotic. Like that's a first and foremost. Every single person should be on a probiotic. Most of all, I would just say Jesus, right? Like get your prayer in, find some friends who have faith, and just start realizing and understanding that there's more to this life than just what this life is, like more than just what is on this earth, and just more than like the stress and the everyday, like there is hope, and it's in Jesus.
Well, I feel like the fast-paced, and we're all guilty of it. We have kids, we have sports, we have work, we have homeschool, we have school. I mean, go down the list of things that we have to do. And
that society says we have to do.
And at the end of the day, it's like, are we spending any time just in quiet?
No, because
and
when are you supposed to do that?
Time. I mean, I like to do it in the mornings. Up early. That's why I'm up before you guys.
Not happening.
Because it's the only time that I have.
That is something.
And if I don't do it in the morning, then I won't do it. But you're good about doing it later. That's not true. Like you're good about that. Like if you have a day where you're busy and you'll do all the things during the day, and then you'll go, okay, I need to go upstairs and take a bath and have some alone time. And you'll do that. I won't. Well, actually, I take that back. I will do it on my walks.
Yeah.
That's the one time I will do it. But if I don't have time and don't do that day, it won't get done unless I do it in the morning.
That's true. It won't get done unless you plan it.
If you go like that, or if I go like that for days, weeks,
even a day,
I'm done.
I can't even do it in a day.
Totally caught in self and
you're pouring from an empty cup.
Like
100%.
And I can't do life like that anymore. I can't.
When I go up and I take a bath and that's where I read, the word of God. I pray to God. He fills me up. I feel super just kind of like recharged. I can send out like encouraging texts to friends and just like, I'll be texting Shane from upstairs like, hey, what do you think? No, like everything comes to like, it's usually the text that I send to Shane are about Jesus. Like, it's just, and I'm just
like texting you back and I'm like, dang, she's naked right now. Yes.
I'm all sweating. My heart's beating fast in the detox bath.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know how you made that thing so damn hot. I mean, I sit in like a hot tub. I sit in the sauna. It's hot, but that bath was hot.
It's hot. It gets
like
hot.
Really hot.
And then I get frustrated when I don't get a hot bath. Like if everybody took a shower and the water's like,
someone turned our water heater down. I don't know who did it. Somebody turned it down because it was not me.
I'm like, why am I even in this bath? It's like lukewarm. I'm not about.
That's how it is when I sit in a hot tub too. It's like, man.
I know, it's such a bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the world is crazy right now and it's hard, and it's more than ever do we need Jesus, but more than ever also we need just that time. I mean, for me, that time is Jesus, right? Like it's like quiet time with Jesus. If you don't have Jesus yet in your life, then just quiet time, right? Like chill, take a minute, let your brain like decompress. And
it's just meditating on nothing sometimes. And so when I say meditating, it doesn't mean sitting with your legs crossed and your hands in the air. Like, it's not like that's what a lot of people think. That's what I used to think. Like that was I'm just saying like sitting in a chair. This is what I do in the mornings. Is just sit in a chair in silence with and I'll do this in the spa too. I love doing it in the spa in the morning time if I am able to do that. It's just sitting down with my hands on my legs, on my quads right here, and just try to sit as straight as I can and just close my eyes and just sit in quiet and just breathe.
It's crazy.
And I'm not, I can't do it for a long period of time. Even
it's so hard to do.
It's so like breathing, just focusing on my breath, like sitting there. Like that to me is what I understand as meditating. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that over a long time. Like it's been a long time, like, because I couldn't even do that at one point.
Yeah.
And the more that I practice that, and I try to do it whenever I can, even if I'm I'll do it sitting at a stoplight sometime. Then there's some jerk behind me, he's honking his horn.
Yeah, what the heck? That's not the time
I'll just like sit there and just like close my eyes for a minute and just try to like breathe for a second. And my point to that is you can take like micro breaks like that and just take a couple of breaths and just try to relax, because all of that ties back into the stress stuff we were talking about. Oh, yeah. The constant, where we have to perform and be on point and we need to do all the things and be on, like, I can't handle that. Nor do I want to.
No one can handle that.
I know, but we try to, and we think we should be able to. Yes. And if we don't and we fail at it, then we're failures and we're not doing things correctly. Like, how come everyone else can do this, that, and the other, and we can't? Nobody can. No. Nobody can. Most of it is a front. I shouldn't say all of it. A lot of it is. Yes. We live in this thing of social media, and we're comparing and looking at everyone's great, beautiful life. You don't know what's going on behind those doors.
Nope.
That's why that thing is a trap to me, trying to judge and compare. That's what it was created for, in my opinion. A part of that is to separate people, sure. And it's not all bad either. There's many good things for it. I mean, gosh, how much have you learned on social media from health?
Totally.
I follow a lot of great people on there that I learn stuff from and see, get words from. So I actually wanted to plug this. I just thought of that. Pastor Jeremy White, who was on the podcast, just the last episode we did with Dan Carity and Peter Stowe. He has a new Instagram, what do you call it? A channel, I guess? Instagram handle. I don't know, but it's called 60 Second Seminary. Oh. And it's just Jeremy giving 60-second little bits. Oh, that's awesome. And it's really cool. And he's doing a great job at it. He's even rocking a mustache these days, which I'm kind of digging.
I saw something about that. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But so point being is there's lots of positive things, and give Jeremy a follow if you get that, because it's great stuff. And a lot of positivity coming out of that, but we also can get caught in the trap of, getting stuck scrolling and being on.
Yeah. And I think that that's what boundaries come from too, even with Instagram, where you have to be like, okay, you know what? Let me just delete these people, because if they're not feeding you, like that's how you can have Instagram work for you, is if you only are following accounts that are going to feed your day, right? Or like feed your soul, feed your mind, body, health, whatever it is, but not like, stuff that it's just like toxic, right? For your mind.
I think we just are going to title this episode. I'm doing
and
it
for
right
your
now.
scroll about throughout the day. Is that insane?
What are you feeding yourself? That's what we're going to call this episode.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure.
I feel like it wraps everything up in a sense, because we talked about your health journey. We're talking about social media now. We're talking about physical food. We're talking about alcohol, drugs, everything. What are you feeding yourself? And I think that's something that, let's jump on that a little bit and then we'll wrap up. I also, man, we've been talking for an hour and 7 minutes. We still didn't talk about one of the main things I wanted to discuss tonight. So we might have to do part 2 of this, or the next date night, or maybe we can squeeze it in right now, is, we do get a lot of messages from women whose husbands are struggling. And I always, I try to respond as best I can, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I direct them your way. And I say, hey, Jess, this person hit me up. They're kind of wondering this. Here's their email, or here's their Instagram. Maybe you can connect with them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many women out there who struggle with that, and they want to hear your perspective on that. And you're actually working on some things right now to help with that too, which you're more than welcome, obviously, to talk about too. So I know, okay, hold on. I got to do this. I have like all these thoughts going through my head right now, and 2 things. So there was 2 of them. What are you feeding yourself?
Okay.
Back to that. Like, and
cauliflower noodles. Okay.
So yes, we're talking about but also, what are you feeding yourself? Are you meditating? Are you feeding yourself the word? Are you feeding yourself good people hanging around you that are supporting you and building you up? It's such an important and huge thing. And then if you want to jump on the train of helping a woman out there who might be listening right now, whose husband is struggling and is like, what do I do?
That's a whole conversation.
I mean, I know. I don't know how much time do we have? We got to go get the kids here soon, huh? This is our date night. Date night.
You're welcome, everyone. We enjoy doing this though. This is fun.
I would love to do this once a month. I mean, we said at the beginning of the year we were going to do date night once a month. We penciled them on the old. We got an old school hard copy calendar planner. That's what it is. Planner. I was highly disappointed with the size of it too.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because we're like, okay, this year we're going to like have a planner. We're going to plan out our lives and our whole thing, and we're just trying this new thing, right? And so Shane's like, I got this great planner that I'm going to get. And I'm like, sweet. All right, take initiative, do it. He gets it. It comes in the mail. It's like a full, it's literally
like 4 pages. Yeah. It was like a cover and a back cover. It didn't even
have like inside pockets. It didn't have like any like extra doo-doo-doo. It was just like this randomness. And so we sat down for our first meeting and we're like, yeah, it just wasn't serving us well. We were like, what the heck? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab another planner. So I ordered one online this week, and it had all the things, and I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. And I think it was like $14.99. I'm like, yes. And I order it. It comes in the mail, and it's like a 5x7 size.
Yeah, it was small.
And I was like, okay, Lord, like, why? Why is this difficult for us to figure out? Maybe we don't use a planner? I don't know.
Maybe you have phones and technology, but I just get tired of doing that all the time. I use the crap out of my phone. My calendar alerts, like I use it. Yeah. It works great. But I feel like there's nothing like a good old fashioned writer on down.
Writer on downs.
Yeah. Sticky notes. I mean, let's use it all.
Sticky notes. I'm about a sticky note. I have them right here. I got to post it right in front of me with a pen. That's about how
you do. What do you have on those notes?
Nothing.
Anything interesting?
Nothing at all.
Just a circle, squiggly dot that you drew. So it's all for looks, even though nobody can see.
No, it wasn't for looks. It was for like, okay, in case I have to write something down if I forget, if I like, but nothing, nothing came to mind.
Nothing. That's hilarious.
But yeah, what was it? Oh, what am I feeding myself? I think I already said that.
Well, we did. I mean, yeah, we hit on that quite a bit, I think. But
Yeah, I am kind of working on something, which I don't really, I just working on something, but, yeah, I'm thinking about maybe putting something together, like a 30-day devotional for women who are struggling, you know, or like women whose husbands are in recovery. And it's just like an encouraging thing, like, that you can read daily. And I'm just honestly using like, Instagram posts from like previous Instagram posts, because that's what I like to do, is go on there and encourage people. And so I had a bunch of them saved for whatever reason in my pages. And so I was like checking them out. I'm like, what is this from? And so I thought maybe if I compiled all of them together and added maybe a few of them for a 30-day.
It's a great idea.
30-day, like a devotional faith-based type thing that might help women, you know, get through this whole journey a little bit easier. And then, yeah, I mean, other things too, and helping women and stuff. I mean, it's just where my heart is. And yeah, but you know, if I were to say something to someone today about like if your husband is walking through the recovery journey, I would say that it is a journey, and to remember, you know, yourself in all of it. You know, don't forget that you are also a person, and that God has called you to a purpose, and that purpose isn't necessarily, you know, making sure that your husband doesn't drink today, but, you know, sometimes living out our purpose and doing heart work that God has put on our lives helps the whole family, you know, because it kind of puts us in a place of peace and, I don't know, just kind of a good place where we're like, okay, I'm doing what I love and I'm serving the people that that I feel like I need to serve, or I'm just doing what makes me come alive. And so that just kind of makes you feel better all around. And so then you're a better mom and you're a better wife. And, you know, maybe your husband sees that and is inspired by that, you know? So I think that I would just say, like, don't give up your dream. You know, don't give up your whatever it is inside of you that feeds you and makes you inspired and feel good and happy. Just because your husband is walking through something doesn't mean that you have to give up everything for that. You know, you can still support him and love him, encourage him, but you are not responsible for him.
Yeah. What about, like, I hate like the old word boundaries.
Oh yeah, well that's a good
but
word.
It's so relevant, I think, to that, because you can do all those things that you just said.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree, but you also don't want to get stepped on. You don't want to get walked on. You don't want to get in a bad situation by trying to do those things sometimes, which can be, because dude, people who drink and who are stuck in that can be extremely manipulative.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't even know they're doing it. I didn't know I was being manipulative when I was being manipulative. Right. I just was drinking and just being manipulative in my own way. It wasn't intentional. Yeah. You know, I wasn't like, I'm going to go be manipulative right now.
What's an example of manipulative?
Like making you think that I don't really have a problem and that my problem is not as big a deal as it is, by minimizing it and turning it around like you're the one who is making a big deal out of my drinking, or that, do you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I mean, that's probably the first one that comes to mind. I know there's more, but.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought you were talking about women. Okay. So yeah, like I remember that happening, and all I can relate to is what I went through, and I would think to myself, Shane would do that. And during the time of it all, yeah, I would be like, damn, am I like tripping? Like, am I ridiculous? Am I the one starting this whole thing? Like, maybe I am being naggy, you know, like that kind of thing. But deep down, I knew, my gut and my everything was like, this fool's tripping. You know, like, no, this is not right. This is not okay. Nobody should live like this. It shouldn't be this crazy and stressful. Like, we shouldn't be fighting every night. He shouldn't be gone every night. Like, We shouldn't be struggling financially like this. Like, I just knew deep down that this wasn't it. This was not right, but yes, it's very easy to become manipulated and
the other one,
codependent.
Like, because you want to fix, like you said that earlier, want to fix, and you want to stand by your man. You want to stand by your spouse. You want to stand by and help them through this. And if somebody's not willing to get the help, the only thing you can really do is try to love them and create solid boundaries in the process before, because you're not going to fix somebody, like, just period, especially if they're really struggling with alcohol and drugs until they're ready.
I think that's what I was thinking too when I was saying earlier is, boundaries are huge, right? So once you finally, you just have to draw the line in the sand, because they're obviously not going to do it. Until they do it, right? But you got to draw that line in the sand when you're like, okay, enough is enough. And here's my boundaries. Like, if you come home drunk again, you need to find another place to live. Or if you come home drunk again, the kids and I are leaving. And okay, yeah, right. We'll see about that. You really have to have like a plan you have to have a plan, because when that happens again, right? He comes home drunk and okay, we're leaving, And I don't know that it has to be right in that moment, right? Because then that's a whole dramatic thing. But it's like the next day bye, like, we're gone. And then it's a whole thing, right? It's a whole thing. But I guess what I'm saying is, you have to have the boundaries. And then when you make those boundaries, you have to have the consequence. And then when you make that consequence, you actually have to follow through. And then also, like, Shane said, if when you're in that, so you're doing that, then you also have to know, though, that you're doing what's best for you and for the kids, because you are not going to fix that person.
Well, and I think part of that, and that's a really good point, and I think part of that goes with that is like educating ourselves on the tendencies, the symptoms, what to look for in somebody who's really struggling with alcohol and drugs, addictions.
Like what the wife should look for?
Yes. Like you have to have a general understanding. So, and maybe you get that through Al-Anon, through church, Celebrate Recovery, listening to podcasts, therapy. There's lots of different outlets and resources that you can find out there to help you. Go check out a book.
Yeah.
Just go to the library. Start Google Amazon, how to deal
10
with
signs of an alcoholic.
Yeah. Whatever it is, there's so much content and there's so many people out there who have made videos, written books, like there's all kinds of stuff. The recovery
world is gigantic
12-step.
now.
Go. Yeah. There's so much stuff, and you got to find something that interests you, and you have to start trying to get some general understanding of what to look for and what to expect and how to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I forget, in growing up in an alcoholic house and doing therapy and doing counseling as a kid, as an adult, all the stuff I went through personally with my own drinking and everything, like, it's not normal.
Yeah.
So I know, and I've been through a lot of that stuff and experienced it, which has really helped me to get
identify
that help and really identify some of it. And I'm still learning crap every single day. Like, I learned something new about myself, about my past, and I don't want to ever stop doing that. It's just such a process. And if you're on the other side of it, which the spouse tends to really get left in the dust sometimes, the spouse who's not struggling with alcohol per se.
Totally.
The person who is struggling with it, let's just say in my case, the husband who is struggling with it, all the spotlight's on us.
Yeah.
We're the one who has the problem, and everyone cares and everyone wants to help. And man, Shane, he needs some real help. And where does Jess get left in all this? Well, she gets left back at the house with the kids while Shane goes to rehab for 30 days with all the bills. She gets stuck trying to figure out how to pay this so Shane can go work on himself. You know what I'm saying? And all that had to happen in order to make changes and stuff, but it sucks. And you get the crap end of the stick sometimes in that predicament. And there's so many other women out there who go through that, and they don't have a voice for that. And so that's why we do feel like we've talked about you coming on the show more often, maybe we incorporate that into date night with Shane and Jess, like where we take a couple questions because we get these questions so much from women. Like send us one, go on soberguy.com and there's a contact form on there and start writing us questions. And maybe if we continue to do these once a month, if we start getting some questions, we'll incorporate them in there. And I'm not saying either that we have answers for you, but we have responses and we have experience that we'll share. And I'll just put it that way. Like, I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. None of us have the answers. This is about creating conversation and about creating healthy, like thought-provoking conversations around stuff that we can start to think about and
through experience
talk about. Yeah. Talk about outside, talk about in your group. You have a small group. Because
I think Shane and I also really believe that, you don't struggle through things to just struggle through them. It's God turns all things to good. And so sometimes, the devil will present something in our lives and we have to walk through that. And God is close and present during the whole thing. And he tells us, I will turn this into something good. You just stay with me and we're going to walk through this and I'm here with you, but I'm going to turn this into something good, and that's exactly what he's done. And that's what this podcast is. It's just a way and beyond this podcast, it's been something that Shane and I is always heavy on our hearts to help other people through our experience, because we're not like, why did we have to go through that? It's so stupid. Like, what a shitty thing, whatever. No, we're like, okay, we went through that for a reason. And the reason is so that we can help other people, and my thought, that is why you go through struggles. That's why you go through things. I'm able now to educate people, but I'm able to help people, through my experience of this whole health journey, why else,
I know you're being careful with the word educate, and I hate that word too. I don't like say, you need to educate. We need to educate these people. I try to never use that, but I just want to say in this instance, in the work that you're doing at Eco, you are educating women. Women come in and they ask you all kinds of questions about certain products, and so you are. And if you have a gift to do that, share experience to help, and I say educate people in a good manner, of course. Like, we should use that, and we should help people. We should serve. And
it's true.
I knew from the first day that I got the green light from God when he was like, yeah, go to rehab. I got you. When I found that Bible in the middle of the road, I knew that God had something more for our family in that moment. I knew it right there. I can't explain it. I can't, crazy. I can't, I still don't necessarily get it till this day, but I just knew it. It was in my gut. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't anything. It was a feeling. And I knew I was doing the right thing because I knew God had something more for our family on the other side.
And that was from one decision.
That was just that seed right there. That was 9 years ago, that over 9 years ago. It'd be 10 years this year.
That was from a decision that you made. God put something on your heart and you decided to say yes.
100%.
And we talk about it all the time. Things come up and we're like, dude, could you imagine? Like, I'll even say to the kids, in whatever instance, could you imagine like if dad didn't go to rehab? Like, and Lucy's like, wow, like what would that be like? I'm like, well, he'd probably still be drinking. We would never have gone to Huntington. We probably wouldn't have this house.
I don't think we'd be married.
I don't
know if I'd be alive.
Be married.
Personally.
I don't know if you'd be alive or out of jail.
I mean, seriously.
Who knows if we would have had cash?
That path was insane.
Because cash was after you had rehab. You went to rehab.
Yep.
I mean, there's just so much like that. Our life has just completely been changed by one yes, by your yes. And then I just want to say that to whoever is listening: is it just one decision that you're going to make right now? Like, are you on the fence to make a decision of a yes or a no? And like, what is that no? Like, for what? For one more drink or one more burger or, one more pill? For what? Or then is it a yes where it's like, for who knows what? I mean, like, the possibilities are endless for a yes. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, if it is a yes and you do go down that road, like God never disappoints,
And he doesn't, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy either,
No.
because the last 9 years have not been easy.
No.
There's been many
Yeah.
ups and downs and
100%.
crazy times still. I just have been able to deal with them without alcohol. Thank God for that.
Well, and it's a lot like my journey too for that whole year. Like once I did say yes, okay, I'm doing that. It's like, that 6 months of healing after that was really, really hard. But God was with me the whole time, so I knew, and I knew he was faithful.
Yeah. I'd love to get some questions. So I just want to reiterate that. Go to thatsoberguy.com. There's a contact form on there. And you could send us any questions. Just maybe put in the title, if it's specific to this podcast and you're hearing this, even if it's weeks later or months later. Date night with Shane and Jess question. Put that in the headline so that way I know when I get it what it is, and I'll create a little folder, and I'll just start putting those questions in there, and then we'll
create a little
do
folder.
them. I know I'm such a folder creator too.
I'm gonna create a folder.
I like creating folders. You should see all the folders I have in my inbox for.
And then what you're gonna want to do is create a folder.
I like to organize them. Put them in their folders.
Wait, hold. Just put it. You got to put it in the folder.
Put this in your purse. Put it in your purse. Put it in your purse.
It's real silver.
It's real silver. Fill it up. Fill it up.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Oh, okay. There it is. The movie.
What movie is it? Somebody's yelling
you
at
just
their...
dropped it right now because that
yelling
line.
at their radio right now.
Everybody knows that is...
It's Home Alone.
Oh, man. One of the best ever. I think I watched Christmas movies... for the first time this year, I got tired of Christmas.
Yeah, well, you had
it was a rough
one.
Christmas, though. It really was.
You had a rough Christmas.
I mentioned earlier our dog, Brody, of 14 years. Went passed on the 23rd. We had to put him down. Yeah. We went to the vet on the 22nd, and he was 14 and a half. And we had him... Jess brought him home like when we first got married. We didn't even have kids yet. He was our first little kid.
He was our firstborn.
Yeah, it was the first thing that we actually had to take care of.
Yeah, we did a shitty
We couldn't even take care of ourselves. We were just complete animals trying to survive at 26 or something. Just complete morons.
26? We were like... when we
got married, we were like 26, right? 27?
No, we were 28.
No, we had Lucy when we were 12. Okay, nobody cares.
Okay,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares for us.
But we were young and dumb, and Brody was like, Jess got Brody home, and I said no at first. No, we're not getting a dog. I didn't want a dog. As he always does. And then I lose the battle. That's why we have 2 cats again now. 2 cats, no dog.
Another story.
But Brody comes home. Jess says, well, screw you. We're getting a dog anyways, and ends up getting Brody and bringing him home. And then he's just like my best buddy right off the bat.
Your best buddies.
Yeah.
Brody was our full-on true road dog. He came to Huntington with us. He came home with us for all the home trips. He came then back home here permanently with us.
He went through everything with us. He went through
all the moves we made.
Yeah.
All the
surgeries, sicknesses, rehabs, babies, getting Lucy pulling his tail. Like you don't understand either losing a pet that you've had for a long time, and even if it's even been a few years and you have a special bond with that pet, you don't understand it until you've experienced it. Because our great buddy Seth, who many of you, if you've listened to the podcast for a long time, Seth. He's been part of the show the whole time since its first. He's actually the first person I told I'm going to start a podcast. I remember being so nervous. We were like at a Starbucks or something. I told him.
He's also the first person you called when you said you wanted to get sober.
He is. Yeah, he was the one who inspired me. If it wasn't for him, I don't know that I would have got sober, because I saw Seth and said, if he can do it, I can do it. But what was I saying?
Dogs.
I know, but so Seth and Mel are huge dog lovers. They've had quite a few different dogs, and they've had to. They had they were Great Danes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They had the Great Danes, and then they had German Shepherds.
Yeah. And so point is, they've had to put down a few of their very beloved pets. Yeah. And Seth also, has went through some other losses with his mom, and he's talked about that stuff. But, I would call, or Jess and I would call and say, hey, we heard about, was it Duke? Was that one of Duke? I think, yeah. We heard about Duke and, and just say, we're so sorry. And we were definitely sorry. Like you feel for them, but you can't truly understand it. And I'm sure that goes for any loss for folks who have lost a son or a daughter. I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine that. Losing, anyone close to you, anything you love is so hard and you don't understand it until you go through it.
Grief is real.
Dude.
Grief is real. And there's all these steps of grief and all these things. And it's just really sad. But you're never gonna,
so,
it's gonna happen.
In any case, we go to the vet on the 22nd. This is right before Christmas. We know Brody's getting sick. He can't hold his pee. He's peeing in the house. Random places.
Really smells bad.
His back is hunched. He's 14 and a half. And it's just crazy because you see the aging process happening right before your eyes, and you see the sickness happening right before your eyes, and you subconsciously know, or you consciously know what's happening, but you subconsciously don't recognize it because you don't want it to be real. And so
denial.
There's definitely some denial there. And just not wanting to acknowledge it. So that's probably why I put off taking him to the vet, because I had a feeling that we were going to get the news that we did end up getting when we took him to the vet. And it was like, hey, we're so sorry. His kidneys are basically in failure. Like he's ready to go. Like you got to make that decision. When do you want to do it?
And so like, we're going to wait till after Christmas. We're going to wait till after Christmas. We're going to keep him one more Christmas. And then we came home. We all slept on it. We were very sad. Woke up the next morning. Every single one of us, kids included, whatever, we all said, no, we can't do that to him. We can't keep him till Christmas. That's just not fair. He's gonna be suffering so that he's there. Oh, there he is for us.
Yeah.
He's already.
Well, it was hard because he was still moving around. He was just super slow.
He's already done so much for us and held on for so long in pain for us. Yeah. And it was a hard decision.
Such a loyal dude.
Very, very
such
hard
part
decision.
of our family. Huge part of our family. So, we ended up having to make that decision. Sucked so bad. I cried for like 3 days. I still cry at my moments because I miss him.
Cashy misses him big time.
But we have a little spot set up for him, and we got his ashes back, and we got a great picture of him up, and I smell his collar sometimes.
We had the vet come to the house, which was really neat. I highly recommend that.
Yeah, that was very hard. I will say be
cautious though with kids, because sometimes I wonder if we made the right choice having the kids there or not. But they were there, and Cashy wanted to be there. Lucy, she was a little older, but really consider that because that was different. But
so
what it is.
Let's end on a high note. I don't want to end on my dog died and play me a country song, but this has been a great podcast. I'm glad you got to share some of your own struggles and journey with your health in the last year or two. It was huge. And I'm going to guess that there's probably some women out there who'd like to hear more about that and I know we covered a lot, I think, in an hour and a half, but I think there's probably some questions, and I have a feeling that there's more people out there who are struggling with a lot of that same stuff. And I love it. I love, like we said earlier, the concept of a lot of this can apply to anything that somebody's struggling with: addictions, health issues, food. Because at the end of the day, it comes back to making change, number one. And then who are we leaning on? Are we leaning on God, or are we leaning on self? Mm-hmm. Are we leaning on substances, or are we leaning on God? Mm-hmm. Who's there for us? Are we trying to do it all on our own, or do we have people around us who are supporting us and building us up that we can go to with our inner most deep stuff that we don't want to talk about, that we can lay on somebody that we trust and we know that they're going to speak into us? That's the kind of stuff that will help us not only get through it, but get through it and be okay on the other side of it, and step out and step into what that next season is. So, man, just surround yourself with good people. There's a ton of resources if you're particularly struggling with alcohol at thatsoberguy.com. And there's our men's group is on there. There's the 30-day Quit Drinking Dude Challenge. There's more podcasts. The contact form if you need to reach out. We're working on getting some stuff up. Jess, I think, are you still going to start supporting the blog page on there and writing some blog posts and, kind of more geared towards women? That's one of the things that we'd really like to try to do this year is open up
a space for
a space for women in particular. Yeah.
Maybe walking through this journey with their husband.
Yeah.
And need some guidance or some just positivity or whatever. Jesus.
I mean, and even if you're struggling, women who are just struggling with stuff too. I mean, health stuff, addiction stuff, who knows? Yeah. Parenting. I mean, gosh, that's
somebody help me, dude.
So
send help.
Yeah, I know.
Homeschool.
Yeah, homeschool is a whole. I mean, gosh, there's so much stuff we could talk about. So, anything before we wrap up? Because it's almost 10. We got to go get Cashy boy.
I just really appreciate being here.
Yeah, it's been fun.
3 years. I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe it.
I feel like it's. I feel like it has
changed.
There was one in between that, but I don't know. Yeah,
I do believe it. A lot has gone on.
What is this? The last Saturday of the month? Maybe we can make that date night with Jess. Maybe. Oh, you know what we should do? It'd be cool to do these live, like date night with Shane and Jess, and just do a live podcast.
Where?
Here. Well, I don't mean
at our home.
I mean, at our home. Well, I mean, that would be cool too to do them live, like at one point. But I'm just saying I'm saying like in like a chat, like where we could take live questions and be on video, like a YouTube live maybe or something like that.
I love that.
And then we could promote it a little bit on social media and just say, hey, come join us and hang out. And who knows? Maybe 10 people show up. I don't really care, but that's awesome. And we get 10 people together and we just hang out. And talk and take questions and take comments and just talk. I think that'd be great. So I don't know. We got some ideas. It's just a matter. I have lots of ideas.
And that
they don't always
is
pan
how
out, but
ideas happen in the Raymer household.
Pretty much. And 5 out of 10 maybe actually stick. So don't hold us to anything. We'll try our best.
Yeah. The blog,
between Little League,
the book, live
Little
shows.
League, live. I mean,
we just committed ourselves to like 3 things that. Okay,
that's the life of a creative.
Yeah. And then try having 2 people that are like that in your house.
Gosh.
Like, what if in the bath
ridiculous.
I'm like texting, what if
and I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then they're like, I'm so tired.
This podcast almost didn't happen tonight. Shane was the one. He's like, I just don't know. I'm just tired. I'm like, no, we got to do it. We got to do it because the kids are gone and it'll never happen.
Yep. Any final last words one more time?
The final last
words.
I don't have any, actually.
All right. Well, then let's do this then. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. If there's anything you can help or you need help with or questions, resources, go to thatsoberguy.com. I hope something spoke to you today. Really love it if you shared the podcast with a friend. You can connect with us on Instagram at thatsoberguypodcast. Put all the links from everything we talked about today, too, in the show notes. So if you want to follow Jess, you want to follow Eco Chic, put Christina Pann's info in there. Yeah. Love you guys. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.